Hey guys, how you doing? Just wanted to just do a few examples so you have a record of it right here. This is about solving by square roots. So just remember, we went over here is these are all the perfect squares right here. So right here, you have right here 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, otherwise known as a hundy, 121, and 144. So when you're simplifying radicals, the first part of the lesson, that was like 1 to 6 that I gave you. Let's say we're simplifying a radical. So if you have something like 36, well, that's easy. The square root of 36, well, a number times itself that is 36 is just 6. Okay, or if you have the square root of 81, well, that's easy. That is just the square root of 81, a number times itself that is 81. That is 9. 9. Now, what happens if you're simplifying a radical that's not a perfect square? Okay, there's a couple ways of doing that. So let's do, how about, let's try 800. Okay, so we have 800 right here. We're trying to simplify 800. So there's two different ways of doing this, okay? Let's take a look here. Method 1. Method 1, you're just going to break everything up. Basically, you're going to prime factorize it all. Okay, and then once you do that right here, if there's any doubles, you take the hat off. With the hat is the square root sign right here. For any singles, just multiply them together and leave the hat. The hat is that square root sign. So let's do it. All right, so this is method 1 right here. So I'm trying to think of any two numbers that multiply to be 800. Okay, first thing that comes to my mind is root 8 and root 100. Okay, so right here, actually, this is the this is actually the easy way to do it. Let's say you couldn't think of 8 and 100, right? Let's say you thought of 20 and 40, because if I did 8 and 100, that would be more like the other way. I'll show you that in a second. So let's say you came up with 20 and 40, right? And then you would break up 20 as root 5 and root 4, and 40 is root 4 and root 10. Okay, root 5, there's nothing more you can do. Root 4 is 2. Root 4 is 2. And root 10 is going to be root 5 times root 2. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. Let's see here. So here we have 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 happens to be 4. All right, if it helps, lightly cross them out. We have root 5 times root 5. And remember, a square root times itself, so root 5 times root 5 is just going to give you 5. If you get confused, think about it. 5 times 5 is 25, and isn't the square root of 25 just 5? So that's one way to reason. Okay, lightly cross that out. And then we have left over root 2. So that's going to be 4 times 5 is 20, root 2. There we go. All right, so let's try it a different way right here. So the other way is kind of the way I was starting it right there. So the other way to do it right here, we'll call this method 2. Method 2, you try to think of a perfect square. Perfect. That divides into your radicand. Radicand is, of course, the number. So let's take a look right here. All right, a number that divides in right here. And give me 1 second. Okay, so let's come back to this right here. So to perfects that go into 800. I mean, not two perfects, any perfect goes into 800. Well, I know that 100 actually is a perfect square, right? So I would say root 100, root 8, no problem. And square root of 100 is 10. Square root of 8 is root 4 times root 2. So it's going to be 10, and square root of 4 is 2. And then we have root 2 here. So that comes out to 20 root 2. Okay? So you could do it either way. Obviously, this second way is a little quicker than the first way, but they both give you the right answer, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so just showing one more example right there. Let's say we have square root of 125. All right, so square root of 125. Method 1, again, you're just thinking of any old two numbers that go into 125. All right, so right here, I'm just going to think of, I know that 5 goes into 125 25 times. So that'll be right there, root 5 and root 25. Okay, and we know the square root of 25 is 5 right here, and bring down root 5, so that comes out to 5 root 5. All right, now this one right here was an easier one because right here, of course, 25 is a perfect square, so method 2 would have been the same way. So it doesn't really make a difference in that case right here. Let's take a look at one from the worksheet right here so that I can kind of give you some more challenging problems. Hang on. 8 root 40 times 3 root 68. Let's do that one. Okay, here we go. So this is a little bit more challenging now. Okay, so root 40. Let's see here. We're coming any two numbers that multiply to be 40. Now, maybe you think of 8 times 5. Maybe you think of 4 times 10. Either way, it works. Now, in this case, 4, since it is a perfect square, is 4 times 10 will be a little easier. So the square root of 4 is 2, so that'll become 2 root 10, and then just bring on down the 8. Bring on down the multiplication. Bring on down the 3. Bring it on down. 68. Okay, we're trying to think of two numbers that multiply to be 68. Now, you may not be able to think of something here, so I know that's even, so let's just try 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 8 4 times. So it'll be right there. Sorry. Root 2 and root 34. Okay? And furthermore, right here, root 2 I can't do anything more with. 34, I know is going to be 17 times 2. So root 17 and root 2. Okay, so right here, we know that root 2 and root 2 is just going to be regular old 2. So bring down the 3, put the regular old 2 here. Let me cross that out. And then right here, we have, this is a really bad 17. Sorry about that. There we go. And this is right here, root 17, which I can't do anything more with. Okay, and then bringing everything else down. There we go. All right, so almost done here. Let's go from left to right. We have 8 times 2 is 16, root 10. Times 3 times 2 is 6, root 17. And then furthermore, let's finish it on up. We have 16 times 6, which is going to end up giving me 96. So we have 96 times the square root of 10 times 17 is 170. And that is it. That's all we can do. So 96 root 170 is it. Okay, that's as simplified as I could get. All right. Now going on right here to what we did today. We did solving by square roots. Let's take a look at one of these problems. So we can start, let's start with a more simple one, that kind of ones we did today. 3x squared plus 5 equals 41. Sounds good. Or actually, we could do one a little different here, so I can just mix it up if you understood the one today. So let's do 6x squared plus 60 is going to equal, let's see here, divided by 6. So about 9, let's make it a little challenging. Yeah, say 120. Should be good. Okay, so right here, so 6x squared plus 60 equals 120. All right, so let's see here. First of all, I'm solving for x squared. So I think I wrote the steps right here. First of all, use this, when you have a quadratic equation, quadratic means x squared to the highest power with no bx terms. That means no x to the first term. So my steps right here, solve for x squared first. Then take the square root of both sides, and then it's plus or minus. So we're going to solve for x squared first right here. So pretend this is like x to the first, so I'm going to subtract 60 on both sides. So I have 6x squared equals 120 minus 60 is just 60. And then I'll go ahead and just divide by 6 on both sides. So I have x squared equals 60 over 6 is 10. And then now I'm just going to go and take the square root of both sides. So I have x equals plus or minus square root of 10. Now I can't simplify square root of 10. That's about all I can do. So that was like a little bit of an easier one. Let's take a look at a harder one right here. Let's do, here we go. Let's try this one right here, number 30. T squared over 20 plus 8 equals 15. All right, so let's see here. So we'll do t squared over 20 plus 8 equals 15. Let's do it. Okay. Okay, no problem. So first step right here, we're solving for t squared right here. Okay. So when I'm doing this right here, just think of it as like t over 20 plus 8 equals 15. So first step, I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides. And I have t squared over 20 equals 15 over 8 is right here 7. Now right here, I'm still solving for that t squared, so I'm going to multiply 20 on both sides. That's gone, so I have here t squared equals 7 times 20 is 140. No problem. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. T equals plus or minus. Now 140 I can actually break down right here. Let's do it. So square root of 140. Sometimes I like just doing these on the side just to make it neater. So two numbers that multiply to be 140. You might think of 14 times 10. Okay. Or maybe you can come up with a perfect square that goes into this. 4 does go into this, so that might be easier. Up to you how you want to do this. So it's going to be root 7 times root 2. That's going to be root 5 times root 2. I know root 2 times itself is just, root 2 times root 2 is just going to be 2. I'll let you cross that out. And then root 7 times root 5 is root 35. So that comes out to 2 root 35. Oh, happy day. I'm done. All right, guys, hope this helped a little bit and it didn't go too long. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.